Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Boss Rush Podcast, a great place to play games and be better. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is that retro code Eddie V.
Hello, everybody.
The wise Wisconsinite, Mr. Jesse Douglas.
How's it going?
The PC muscle race, LeRon Dawkins. Sleeveless.
What's poppin', y'all?
Sleeveless. What's the point anymore? Put that poll up. That's what the point. Also joining us is the mayor of the Deepstone Crypt, the Dead Man's Tale Toten, the Jotun, Showboatin, Josh Finney.
You know, I love this. I love that our listeners are giving me nicknames now. It's fantastic.
They are.
Pew pew. I'm going to get myself a cowboy hat for the next Tower Casuals.
That'd be awesome.
If I'm using Dead Man's Tale this much, I feel like I should have a hat.
Can you get one of them twirly Colonel Sanders mustaches too? That kind of goes up like this.
I mean, maybe I could.
No.
I could celebrate Mario Day and the Dead Man's Tale at the same time.
I mean, we could.
I have to do it before Mario gets murdered by Nintendo on the 31st.
You do have to do that because. FYI, everybody.
The mustache is getting delisted on the 31st.
I still don't really understand that, but I have a physical copy sealed of Mario 3D All-Stars that I will sell in about 5 years for about triple the price. So I'm good with it. So,
you know what? Maybe I need to spend an additional $60 on that game then.
I'm telling you that game is going to be worth some money in a couple of years. I also have the 25th anniversary one sealed as well.
Yeah, I know a lot of stores still got copies.
So they're taking his mustache away for no reason?
No. I was saying that they're going to delist my twirly mustache that I was going to
wear.
I thought because 3D All-Stars goes away on 31st.
Okay, no, I completely thought you were talking that they were literally taking Mario's mustache away and that's why that game would be worth. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So 83% of my participants said that I was not going to have sleeves on today.
Yeah. Well, your participants are not the same as our participants.
Because what did they say? What?
Our participants?
What's the point?
It's 50% no sleeves and 50% what's the point?
Oh wow! So no one had faith that I was going to put on a sleeved shirt today.
Nobody does. Let's be honest.
Right.
Let's be honest here.
Well, and I voted no sleeves just because I have insider information.
Jesse's the next Martha Stewart of podcasts.
My room for pin cameras now.
Wow.
Because you're obviously not seeing it on an OnlyFans. You're not.
Oh no.
No. I just voted that because of you getting a shot, and it.
Yeah.
I did get my first COVID jab this week. Yeah. So yeah. The soreness at the site is. My shot was on Thursday, so yesterday, I'd say it was about a 3 or a 4 on the soreness scale, and today it's about a 2. It's about 2. I haven't had anything really, really funny going on. My roommate, who went at the same time that I did, he was complaining all day that his arm was killing him. and even his wife was looking at him like, what's wrong with you? Like LeRon's like the biggest baby we know when he's sick, and he's not even complaining half as bad as you are.
LeRon, which one did you get?
Moderna.
Okay, so I've heard that Pfizer hurts a little bit more, and that so my girlfriend, when she got the Pfizer vaccine, when she got her second shot, because her first one she felt perfectly fine. Her arm just hurt a little bit afterwards. Mm-hmm. When she got the second one, her arm hurt, and she says at about the 12-hour mark, she felt like she just wanted to die.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a lot of it. The second shot.
Yeah, I've heard it with the Moderna one too.
Yeah, Moderna is supposed to flatten you the second shot, and I'm not ready for that one.
Yeah, because she wasn't allowed to work for 2 days after getting the second shot. They had to do it when she had a couple days off.
Yeah.
Because if you develop symptoms, and they make you wait around 20 minutes after getting your shots too.
Yeah, I got my second shot yesterday, so I feel a little bit soreness in my left arm, but nothing serious just yet.
So it's going to hit Ed in about 6 hours.
Shoot, and I gotta close this. I gotta close at work, so we'll see.
Now the one weird thing about me that I hadn't heard anything about is that okay, yeah, yesterday I had some minor soreness and everything, but when I woke up yesterday morning, if my chest felt heavy, like I'd been out running like a 5 or a 10K. And that was like first thing in the morning, and I was like, okay, this is not cool because I haven't ran in weeks.
Yeah, that's what happened with my wife too. It lasted about a day for her, but she kind of felt like crap, and then like she just felt like worn out and drained.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing too. Like I noticed yesterday, there was 3 different times I really wanted to take a nap. It was at 3 different times a day. I even fell asleep last night around 9 o'clock while trying to play some Horizon.
I do wonder if this is gonna be like a yearly shot for people.
No, I don't think so. This is just a version.
They've talked about you may have to get a booster later on this year or like early next year.
Shot.
But they need to see how it holds up through the summer and into the fall.
It's it's a variation of the SARS virus, so it's this is probably going to be a one-time thing. But then I guarantee they're going to encourage us to get our yearly flu shots.
Flu shot, yeah.
Well, now that's over.
Shot talk.
So
taking shots.
I've done shots today.
Yes, you have. Anyways, we're gonna do a quick.
How you guys been doing?
I'm fine. Thanks for asking. Fine. I'm fine.
Laugh through the pain, Corey. Laugh through the pain.
I am.
That's not a I'm fine response.
I'm fine, guys. I promise. I think. No, it's just there's some changes going on the website, and it's kind of back end stuff's kind of giving me a little bit of an issue. We'll say we'll just leave it.
We'll blame our illustrious writing team that I'm part of.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, like, just prepping for this child that's coming into our lives soon, and there's a lot to do still, and
oh my god, I hope Corey I hope you get all your stuff ironed out soon, because my god, like I'd hate to hear like 8 years from now you're telling your child that's on the way that you were a mistake, you weren't even supposed to be here. I have all this stuff piled on because of you now.
No, it's good though. But speaking of the writing team, quick reminder, we are looking for people to volunteer for our writing staff. If you are interested in writing for Boss Rush Games, email us at opportunities@brg@gmail.com. Contact David Lasby or Dan Murphy for inquiries. They're heading up the writing team, so you can reach out to them and see what's happening there. I know they're still looking for a couple more people to join the team, so reach out and maybe
join us.
Maybe you'll get a spot.
Yes,
one of those coveted spots. That sounds wow, Ed. Now I have to edit the show. Thanks, you jerk.
Couldn't just quickly mute the microphone.
I know.
Nope.
I know. Housekeeping. This is the Boss Rush Podcast, a flagship show of the Boss Rush Network. Each and every week, we get together with our friends from around the internet to talk about games and everything we love about them. You can find the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other podcast apps, as well as YouTube and our website every Monday morning. If you like the show, remember to hit that subscribe button, and please rate and leave us a nice review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps us out because, as we all know, Apple Podcasts dictates everything for some reason. Check out our entire family of shows on bossrushgames.com. Check out our features and check out our new segment on the website called Boss Rush Banter. It's our editorial that goes into, has a deeper conversation and asks community to be involved in some of the things that we're talking about. So check that out. And okay, we're going to go into what we've been playing. Kind of want to keep this segment shorter because there's a few topics on here that deserve more discussion than the 5 minutes we leave at the end of the show. So,
let me start then. Let me start then, because this would be real easy.
Great.
I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh,
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Basically, Monster Hunter.
Yeah, pretty much.
Monster Hunter.
pretty much. I mean, for real, it's pretty much Monster Hunter. The only difference between this and Monster Hunter is that you have stealth kills. Like, I wish Monster Hunter had stealth kills.
Yeah.
Is that how far are you? Is that it?
She's like I'm past the section where crap. She's looking for the war chief right now. The war chief that left the tribe after that big attack, that bloodbath that happened. Yeah. That's where I'm at now, and because I'm the most ADD gamer out there, I'm doing every freaking side mission that come along. So I've done more side missions than I've done actual story missions in this game so far.
Nothing wrong with that.
Pretty much that's how the game is.
Yeah, as you should be doing that, because it's good stuff. That side stuff also impacts the ending, actually. So
yeah, that's what I've heard. I don't mind doing it, but I'm one of those people that, where other people can beat a game in like 15 hours. It's taking me like 5 months to beat a game because of stuff like that.
It took me 70, I think, because I did all the side stuff too. It took me about 70 to get the platinum. So it's the only platinum I've ever gotten.
I'm trying to figure out right now if I'm doing platinum, because I haven't sat to get platinums on games in a long time. I think the last game that I consciously wanted to keep a platinum on was probably Dead Space 3. But I had the first Dead Space game set the trend though, because like there's a platinum trophy for Dead Space, but there's one specific trophy which is pretty awesome. It was called the one gun trophy, where basically you beat the game using only the plasma shooter. Mm-hmm. And it kind of set like my motivation to get platinums in games for a while. So I was platinuming everything from Dead Space to Uncharted to all sorts of games, and then eventually I got to a point. I even platinumed Mass Effect, the first Mass Effect.
Don't let him lie to you. He's platinuming those Disney movie tie-ins too. We see you over there with your Hannah Montana trophies.
Wasn't that an Xbox?
Would you say it's the best of both worlds?
Was that an Xbox 360 game? Like you press start and you got the platinum or trophy or something for 360?
Something like that.
I did get all the achievements in Cars 2. Because it was real easy. There was like a list of like
Cars
get 10,000 gamer score in less than like something like a day and a half or something. And like it was just full of games that were like, hey, do this, and I'm like, sweet.
The movie Cars 2.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck game is just called Cars 2?
Yeah. It was a bunch of movie tie-in
My
games.
mind went to The Crew 2.
Oh.
And I don't know why. And then it went to Project Cars, and I was like, no, that's still not it.
No, it's literally just Cars 2.
It's okay, Josh. We're all trying to block out that Cars 2 exists.
Block out the Cars 2.
Also, I played through the entire game of Open Season.
Ooh.
It was very bad, but it was only 2 hours, and I got all the achievements. So,
I'm trying to figure out, do I want to get a platinum on Horizon? I might do a platinum. It's been a while since I've actually sat to do it. I might do it.
It's worth it.
So that's what I've been playing. Of course, Teppen, that mobile card game from Capcom. I've been playing that as well. The new hero, Ada Wong from Resident Evil, is in the game now, and she shook the entire meta up, I like the way she shook up the meta better than the last hero, which was Oichi, who was I think she was the villain in Okami. Because she does the whole demon thing, and apparently she's got this romance with Nobunaga and all this stuff, and everything seems to be really adjacent to all the Okami stuff when they introduce Amaterasu. Yeah.
Amaterasu. Yeah.
Yeah. So but I hated that. I hated that woman. But yeah, Ada is doing what she does best and causing all sorts of trouble, and I like her mechanics. So that's what I've been playing.
Josh, what are you playing?
Nice.
You even have to ask. Destiny 2, baby.
Yeah.
Destiny 2.
I played a little bit last night and fell asleep while I was doing my gunsmith bounties.
I planned on playing Trials this weekend, but that's gone.
Also, didn't you play Fallout 76 with the nerd this week?
I was playing Fallout 76 with Ray last night. We did no questing whatsoever. We walked around and I killed NPCs.
Oh, that's fair.
Wow.
They deserve to die. They didn't want to barter with me.
They deserve to die, everybody. They deserve it.
Did they update it for Series X?
No, we get the Series X patch next week.
Next week, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting FPS boost for Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Prey, Dishonored 2, and Skyrim are all getting boosted to 60 frames 4K.
Okay.
Nice.
But let me tell you something, 76 needs it because that game is pixelated as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
It's so bad in some parts.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I might try it. I might give it a try. I never really played it yet, but everything that was going on, I did. When it first came out, I just didn't even bother. But
it's not even the same game. I mean, Wastelanders made it feel more like a Fallout game, and now they've done the next chapter, which is Broken Steel. So the first part of the Brotherhood of Steel storyline is in there. So that's kind of cool. I'll talk about it later with the Bethesda stuff. I don't think that they're going to long-term invest in this game much longer.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way for them to make money until they announce the next Fallout, which is closer than you think.
Yeah.
That's what I've been playing.
Cool. Jesse?
Who's next?
Yeah, I haven't played a whole lot. I need to get back to Horizon Zero Dawn as well, but I finished 3 out of 10. I finished the first season of that, so I played the last episode of that, and I like it. I mean, like I've said before, it's not really so much of a game as it is a show that's got interactions. It's not bad, and like I said, you can get it on Epic for free on PC. So, but yeah, I like what it is. I actually like the story, and the characters are funny and interesting and stuff. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I've really played this week. I've been messing around on my computer and doing other stuff and trying to learn how to use some of these programs, because I ended up buying what is it called? It's called Affinity Photo, which it's a direct competitor with Photoshop, but it's one of those where you only have to pay for it once, and then it constantly gets updates and stuff like Photoshop does, but you don't have to pay for it monthly. But it does essentially the same stuff. I mean, there's some features that Photoshop has that it's missing, but I'm sure in time a lot of those features will get added. But yeah, and right now I think it's like 50% off, so I only paid like $20 for it. So
not bad.
But
nice.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, just a lot of messing around with things, trying to learn some of this stuff. Honestly, is mostly what I've did this week. So, but.
Nice. Ed, what are you playing?
So just gonna focus on quickly on 3 Switch games. Ghouls and Ghost Resurrection. It's getting up there as my kind of game of the year nomination. I'm loving the difficulty. I love this arcade feel to it. It's really, really good. I'm just sad that there's no physical out. I wish there was a physical to this game because I would have brought it. Tried out Apex Legend for Switch. It's not bad to port. It's fine. I think Point Blank that did port?
Panic Button did it.
Panic Button. Thank you, Corey. I think when they start adding patches, it'll get a little bit better, but it's not bad. It's kind of fun. To it, it's the same. It's a little bit slower than the other consoles and PC, but it's functional. It works. It's not a bad thing. It's a fun thing to jump in and jump out. Kind of thing.
It is in fact a functioning video game. I did play the training stuff, and then I deleted it because I have it 3 other places.
It is a functional video game. Is not the ringing endorsement I was expecting.
Compared to what Outriders was, Apex Legends is better.
Oh, God. Listen, Ed, I'm pretty sure I could design something that's more fun than Outriders in like a 2-week span.
Let me ask a question real quickly. Are we giving Outriders shit right now because the demo didn't impress? Because the game is not out yet.
No,
the fact is that LeRon, the demo is the entire first act of the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
that's fair
the
because
first 6 or 7 missions, all your progress carries over, all your loot. Like there are people legit grinding a demo right now. Mm-hmm. It's dog shit though. Let me tell you something.
They just released a patch, I think, yesterday.
That's fine. That's fine. They released a patch. It's not going to address the biggest clearing problem, which is the game has no soul. The characters suck. The story sucks.
The most interesting character they killed off in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. Cowboy McGee got killed off right away.
Yeah.
Like me and Corey was talking about, like there's just too many cutscenes in the beginning of the game. Like
they have cutscenes for you to open every single door, for you to climb up a ledge, for you to climb down a ledge, for you to walk up to something. Dude, there are cutscenes for cutscenes in this game.
Yeah.
You know what? It looks like we need to do a deep dive into why companies do this to us.
It's a looter shooter. They believe.
That's no, because looter shooters aren't the only games that fall victim to this stuff.
It's mostly. I think everybody is, I guess, trying to get on the Destiny train because like that word keeps coming up, and I think
everybody's trying to get on the Monster Hunter train. Monster Hunter is the reason why we have these popular games.
This is more like Borderlands meets Gears of War, and doesn't do either of those aspects well.
It's Gears without a soul.
Yeah. Also, if your edginess is getting out of a cryotube after like the first kind of tutorial thing, and you look over to the side and it's just somebody says spray painted like "fuck you," like that was supposed to be edgy, and I'm like, okay.
Wow.
It's very
like the reason why I asked the question is because like Outriders didn't look like a game I was wanting to play anyway. So like the odds of me downloading and trying to demo were pretty much in the toilet.
We're all in luck because it's probably coming to Xbox Game Pass day one.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I told Nerd.
I'll be playing it.
No, that's a rumor. That's literally a rumor that's been floating around.
Like, I mean, I told Nerd that I think I'm gonna buy it just to do for a review, and see what it. Because of course it's gonna be last gen, but I think anywhere that you play it, if they don't really change stuff up and it feels like just the same thing over and over, I see a lot of 6s and 7s coming to this game for review day one. Because it releases in 2 more weeks, I think.
6s and 7s
April 1st.
Nice.
April 1st.
Yeah. So, but outside of Outriders, because I played like the Apex, like I said, Apex Legend, and in that I played the Monster Hunter Rise demo. And fought Magnum over Grayson from Games Rant and my friend Chris, and we were getting our tails whooped with it. But I think it's going to be such a fun game still, and I think we definitely was talking about when we play more of it and we get more powerful armor and weapons, I think we'll be able to handle them. Because I don't know if they give stats of which weapons that you have. It kind of feels like it's the same demo from the first one. It's just that Magnum.
It is. They just opened up the other level. That's all it is. Because I went to the store and went and downloaded it, and I still had the old demo up. So all it did was basically update the demo I had installed.
It was actually easier to get into the demo this time than it was last time. I will say that. But that's pretty much it until Monster Hunter comes out in 2 more weeks.
Neat.
Corey, what have you been playing?
Well, honestly, I haven't really been playing anything different than Super Mario 3D World and Destiny. And even that is like really scarce. I basically logged in the other day to watch the new cutscene in Destiny, which we talked about on Tower Casuals, and I did some battleground stuff and I did some gunsmith bounties, and then I haven't really played since. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, it's been a rough couple weeks, to be honest with you. And I'm just like, man. And plus, like, my work schedule's changed, and I have to get up at 5 a.m. now. So, like, I really don't have any time to do anything. Because by the time I get home, my wife and I hang out, kid, put her to bed, that kind of stuff. And then it's like 8:30, and I'm like, well, I have to be up at 5, so I might as well go to bed at like 9:30 or 10. You know what I mean? It's just, man. So... Also, I've been trying to schedule a bunch of stuff in advance, so when I'm not here, like it goes live,
Right.
So I've been trying to do all that too. It's been a lot of preparation and not enough gaming, to be honest with you. So, that's kind of it. So we're gonna get into our first topic here, guys. The biggest news of the week, this week,
Bunkers.
this week. Huge world-changing event in the gaming landscape. Okay, world-changing. A new Ninja Turtles game was announced, guys. New Ninja Turtles.
I could not believe it, like, because that image just dropped it out of nowhere. I'm like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
It looks awesome.
Mark?
I'm excited, Josh.
does.
I know you're too young to appreciate the Ninja Turtles, Josh. Okay, I know you're the baby.
I'm not too young. I wasn't allowed to watch them.
Well, see, you're missing out.
My parents made the decision to let me watch Saving Private Ryan at 7, but for some reason, Ninja Turtles was not appropriate.
Did you get like a GBA vibe to it, like graphics wise?
Yeah, it was awesome.
And it works.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like a typical beat 'em up. It looks like they basically took Streets of Rage 4 and said Ninja Turtles, bam.
Yep, basically that's what
I'm
they did.
here for.
The trailer was awesome. Basically, just the original cartoon intro was awesome.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
And then when they started showing the gameplay, and like each turtle has their own running animation, and Michelangelo is just hilarious.
Everybody loves it.
It looks like he has no idea how to run. The bosses look good. Rocksteady and Bebop look great. Shredder looks great. It was like everything my 8-year-old self wanted in a video game, and now we're getting it. It's like it's the sequel to Turtles in Time and Hyperstone Heist I've always wanted, and it's coming.
Yeah, it's a must buy for me. I got to get the physical.
If there's
a game I feel like wouldn't be shocking to see as an arcade cabinet in a year or two.
Yeah,
like they did with Cuphead too.
Yeah,
Galloping Ghost in Bloomington, Illinois. They take like games like that and make an arcade cabinet stuff. So I could see that happening.
It's awesome. I will probably double dip on Xbox and Switch at some point. This game, looks awesome. Can't wait.
What did you guys think? Because I know this was kind of a hot topic about it, though. So the theme song was sung by the lead singer of Faith No More, the band Faith No More. He's the one who did that cover, and a lot of people weren't liking his version of it.
I didn't pay no mind.
A lot of people. Okay.
I don't know.
I mean,
it's an updated
it.
version to a 80s kids cartoon song. If you're complaining about that, you need to check your life.
Right. For real.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
I liked it though.
That's the thing. Yeah, I thought it sounded good.
I was like, man, this sounds like an updated version of the song, and it sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was just happy to see gameplay on how the game actually was going to look. Because the announcement would have been cool, but if there was no gameplay, I would have been like, "Come on, I need more." And they showed it, and I was just like, "This is."
Yeah, I don't think they could have got away with not showing any gameplay, with it because, I mean, like people are gonna want to know.
I do like how it looked like the trailer was going to end, and then they just dropped the sprites down. Right?
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Well, and for a game that's probably going to be $20-$25 when it comes out, right? Like, that's you want to show the gameplay because that's something that can come out in the next couple months, get people excited, especially with like the desert of AAA experiences we're going to have for most of this year. Indies are here to rule it. Indies, remasters, re-releases, and then games like this that like really appeal to that nostalgic core that might have been otherwise overlooked or overshadowed are going to get time to shine. Like, I mean, Little Nightmares 2 has already done 1 million units in basically 1 month on the market. There's no way that does it if Outriders keeps its release and we have, you know...
And Josh is frozen because his internet probably dropped.
I will say, because I think Nickelodeon's doing the publishing for it.
Yeah, well, they have the rights. They own the rights to the Turtles right now. So.
Yeah, they own the rights to the Turtles.
Because like Sega and .emu did Streets of Rage 4 do limited run.
Yeah.
So I think there won't be no limited run version. I think people could actually go in stores and copy it. But yeah, I think it's going to be awesome and stuff.
Hi, Josh. You're back.
Shut up.
Oh man, but yeah, I'm excited. I hope it does. I mean, I think it's going to do well, right? Like, I mean, for those who don't know, this is the team behind Scott Pilgrim and Streets of Rage 4.
That's why it looks familiar. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's the actual, I think, the actual developer, not .emu, the people who are actually making the game. Is this their first game, or are they the ones that made?
They're the man.
It's .emu.
Right, but it's another studio that's also working on the game.
They're helping with it, but this is the team that did Scott Pilgrim and Streets of Rage 4.
Okay.
Trust me, I looked it up. Ninja Turtles is the greatest franchise ever made.
Okay.
So
let's not get carried away here.
I'm not gonna argue with Corey because the fact that he's boosting something over Destiny, you know, I'm not gonna argue with him.
I mean, we can talk about Destiny if you want, LeRon.
I mean, as long as you want me talking about Monster Hunter.
I mean,
wait, you do want me talking about Monster Hunter?
Nope.
Not on this show.
Oh man.
In the future.
Speaking of fandom, like I wish we could get those original Turtles figures getting re-released like they're doing for the Ghostbusters.
The 6-inch ones are the 6-inch ones are getting re-released.
Oh, are they?
Yeah,
okay.
The 12-inch ones are not, which they're like $200 a piece now if you go on eBay or Amazon now. So
I can't wait. The Ecto one is getting released soon, so I gotta get that once that comes out.
Since we're on the Turtles hype train right now, what was each one of you guys, tell me what your one favorite Ninja Turtles video game was. Arcade, console, doesn't matter.
It's Turtles in Time, I think, is the best one. Although I played a lot more Hyperstone Heist because I had a Genesis and not a Super Nintendo, which is essentially the same game, so I don't know why they named it different. So, it's Ultra Shredder, though, not Super Shredder.
So for me, I would agree with Corey with Turtles in Time, but I'm going to choose a different answer. Tournament Fighters for Super Nintendo. I played that like religiously on when it came out, and that game is like the music, the fighting, the background, like I love that game, and I kind of miss it with it, but yeah, because Turtles in Time is such a great game for Super Nintendo, but I was gonna go to a different one. So yeah, Tournament Fighters is for me for Super Nintendo.
Josh, what do you say?
Abstain.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I get you. Jesse?
Scott Pilgrim versus the World. There you go.
It basically is the likeness of the old school Ninja Turtle games. I'll say that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, honestly, I love Turtles in Time, and I love, the arcade one and stuff. But I don't know. There's still like a place in my heart for the original one for NES, like the regular one where you actually walked around the world.
The one where you were hating your life? That one?
The top down and the side scrolling one.
No, well, yeah, the side scrolling top down one. Yeah, I just liked it because there was more to it than just being a side scroller. There's a lot of things that I wish were better about it, but it did things and it changed it up a little bit, and I liked that better. Yeah,
yeah, it did have great the overworld music. When you start the game, it had great. That music is really great. I like that one.
Ultra Games did a good job with the license based off of what they had, because I know for sure like the the NES is just not equipped to like redo an arcade experience. I know that for sure. So yeah. So I
It was
get it.
Konami, so
Yeah. Well, Ultra Games, Konami, yeah, but still, I mean, like, come on.
oh, you know about
I'm-
that, right? Did you?
What?
Did you know about Ultra Games? It was Konami. They
I
just
know.
made,
I know. I
Oh.
just said Ultra Games because that's the publisher that was on the name that was on the box.
Oh yeah, because Konami had to change their name so they could release
Yeah.
more games.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, I know about this. Trust me, I know about this. I'm bringing that knowledge with me to Monday night show. I'm. Yeah. For me, I'm gonna say Tournament Fighters, but the Sega Genesis version.
Ooh,
Really?
Tournament Fighters.
Yeah.
It has
Yes.
some good music. It has some good music on there.
Yeah, I just loved. I don't know. It was something about. I played the Genesis version first, and then I played the Super NES version. I just loved the Genesis version more than I like the Super NES version.
I do
because
wanna
it's, like,
point
a little
out-
bit dark and sci-fi.
Wait, what?
Oh, because it was like a dark sci-fi kind of look to it.
Yeah. There was that going on. Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. Honestly, the Super NES version seemed to run slow. Like when like for a guy like me who was in the arcades playing Street Fighter back in the day, like the games need to flow a little bit. Sometimes like if you're doing your moves and it looks like they're punching and kicking under a wall of molasses, it just kind of detracts.
It had the speed change in it, so you could change the game speed to it.
Yeah, but still.
So what you're saying is a third-party game ran bad on a Nintendo console.
Yeah.
Water is wet.
By the way, before we change topics here, jeez, my kid is just going insane. She hasn't napped in like 3 days.
Oh no.
So they did play some of the music from Turtles in Time in the trailer, which got me really excited. So, but anyways, we're gonna switch topic, which is actually the biggest topic of the day. I had to start Ninja Turtles because I'm me and this is my show, and that's what we started with. The Xbox Plus Bethesda event happened this week. It was very interesting, very fun to watch, very insightful about the future of Bethesda on Xbox. Did everybody watch it? Josh, I know you did because we already talked about it.
I didn't. I was at work when they.
I missed it. I was actually traveling across Virginia for work.
You travelers, terrible.
This is a great event. I really encourage everybody to go watch the VOD of it.
It's also on. If you don't have time to watch it, it's also on the Xbox podcast feed, Major Nelson's podcast feed. So
I encourage you to at least watch or listen to about the first 15 minutes of it.
Is there like a 10 minutes? Is there like a 10 minutes or less version of this?
So
no.
I mean,
Okay.
to sum it up real quick, like you had Phil Spencer, obviously, Pete Hines, Todd Howard, Aaron. God, I forget her last name. Rossi, I think Aaron Rossi, who's their global communications person at Bethesda, and Aaron Greenberg in a roundtable setting talking about it. And they swapped a few people out. Matt Booty came in at one point to talk, and Todd. There's another Todd that works there who handles a lot of their global publishing deals. Just kind of talked about like the legacy of Bethesda. They really focused a lot on they gave time to every single studio, like talked about them, talked about their history, the games the types of games they make. It was very much for people who aren't as plugged into the industry, but it's also like one of the best gaming presentations. I think Bethesda really excels at that, particularly when you have Pete Hines hosting it.
Yeah.
They didn't focus too much on Todd. I mean, Todd owned up to some of the failures of Fallout 76 in it, which was interesting to see him confront that head on and be like, like we basically really fucked up on this. There was not a thing that we didn't do right, but talking about the friendship that him and Phil Spencer have had since the original Xbox days, since the Morrowind days, that was a big part of it. The legacy that they have together, like, with Xbox hardware and with Bethesda games coming from PC to console for the first time. Just why this partnership really makes a lot of sense. And Phil, of course, the big draw of all this was within the first 3 minutes, Phil is addressing the exclusivity question. right?
Well, can you paraphrase that for me? Because I didn't quite understand it. Like I just been reading it. I just been reading about it, but I didn't quite understand it.
So, with the exception of existing agreements, because he says I cannot tell you every single game is going to be exclusive to Game Pass because of the existing agreements, aka Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo, neither of which were mentioned by name in this entire presentation. Obviously, because of those marketing rights being with Sony. But even when they focused on Arcane and Tango, they didn't talk about them. He says those and legacy games, ongoing games, so Fallout 76 and Elder Scrolls Online, will continue to be supported per the contract language. But their goal is that everything that you see from them will be exclusive to platforms. And he phrased this very interestingly.
Yeah.
Platforms that support Xbox Game Pass. So he's not saying Xbox and PC. He's meaning you can do it on mobile. When the app comes to TVs later this year, it's there. When it comes to Surface tablets, it's there. When it's on iPads, it's there. We know the iOS solution is coming at the end of the month. Like, very, like, but leaving the door open of, like, basically never say never. But if you had any dream of Elder Scrolls 6 coming to PlayStation, just that dream needs to be put out the pasture now.
Yeah.
You do not spend $7.5 billion to not make Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and Starfield exclusive.
See, I see the angle from I see the point from both angle. People have been arguing,
I do too.
right?
I
Like,
do too.
you don't spend $7.5 billion to make something exclusive, or you don't spend $7.5 billion and not make it multi-plat because you need to make that money back, right? I see the
They
point
will
from
make
both.
that, though. Corey and I did the numbers when we did our reaction. We did the numbers.
Yeah.
Roughly, and not even paying full amount, if people are paying an average of $10 to $12 a month for Game Pass Ultimate, with the 18 million subscribers out there, that is $2.5 billion every calendar year.
I was thinking of because I like Captain King. Is it Captain King? Oh, Captain King. Is that
Commander King?
Commander King. Like
Commander King. Yeah.
I could see that going like somewhere to Switch if
No.
Microsoft
So-
wants to.
Well,
Well, the first one
I mean-
did already.
So when they talk about legacy, Corey and I are taking that, and a lot of people are taking that to mean that like existing stories are going to finish out. So like Wolfenstein 3, we know is nearly finished. That is going to come to PlayStation, and will probably get a port to Switch, right?
Yeah.
That will come. That will finish out that story. If they do another Doom season pass, because I don't think they're ready to do a third Doom in this series, when they do not Ancient Gods Part 2, but like a year 2 pass, that will be on everything. But a Dishonored 3, because that's so far removed, and they've already said in the past if they were to ever do one, it would have to be a new cast of characters. That would be exclusive. This is how you're going to get more in the Dishonored world. This is how you're going to get more Evil Within. This is how you're going to get more Prey. Like, those games will likely be exclusives, but they seem to really be hammering home. We want original experiences. We want teams to feel like they can do whatever, and they're not behooven to do and carry over on IP. Which is very
Which makes sense. It's like
Microsoft.
what Rare did.
Yeah, it's what
know, like-
Microsoft is letting their studios do. They drew a lot of comparisons to the Mojang acquisition here. With how they have it's under the Xbox Game Studios umbrella, but they've let it do its own thing. And it very much seems like Bethesda, for the first year, I'm going to tell y'all, for the first 16 months probably, you're not going to see any change in how Bethesda goes. Because it's going to take a while to get them into that machine, into that cog, let existing agreements run out. You got to get Deathloop and Ghostwire out the door. The only thing in the next 16 months that will be exclusive from them is Starfield. I guarantee.
I wonder, out of all of their studios, because how many studios do they got? Is it 12?
8.
It's 8 studios.
8
So-
studios. They have something like 15 teams, though, because so many of these studios have multiple branches.
Right. So I wonder if they probably got like about, I want to say about 7 games in the works, because there's probably some stuff.
I would argue they have more than that.
yeah.
Because right now we know about Starfield, Elder Scrolls 6, ZeniMax Online's next IP, which is staffing up in San Diego right now. Deathloop, Ghostwire Tokyo, whatever Arcane Austin is working on, which could be Dishonored or Prey at this point, or a brand new IP. God, that's 6. You probably have 1 or 2 more games in development, I would say, right now.
Because I think people are probably like writing stories, getting
Indiana
pictures
Jones.
and stuff.
You've got Indiana Jones, Wolfenstein 3. So there's your other 2. They got at least 8 right now that we know of that exists. And I would argue a couple more are probably in like the pre-production stage. But one of the things they really emphasized here is now with all these studios, I didn't realize how many of the Bethesda teams like kind of work with each other. We always think of, oh, well, this team did this game, nobody else contributed to it. They were showing like Shinji Mikami's team over at Tango designed some of the enemies for Doom 2016. Mm-hmm. Likewise, id Software provided a lot of guidance and consultation to Machine Games when they took on the Wolfenstein reboots, specifically with the storytelling. Those poor Germans had to spend a whole month in July in Texas. But it was an interesting thing. Like, we forget they own Prey and Quake as well, on top of these franchises that we know are getting exclusives. Mm-hmm. Like, there's so many opportunities here. And something else that I saw getting pointed out, this is why when I said earlier, I think Fallout 5 is closer than we think. Obsidian and In Exile are both made up and run by the guys who made the original Fallout and Fallout 2.
What do you think they're going to be like really get stuff rolling about? I'm gonna say 22, like mid 22.
Yes. By mid 2022, do not expect anything after next spring to be on any platform other than Game Pass platforms.
I mean, it's guaranteed money for them, so
it's
we could be in the cost.
Jason Schreier said it really good last year when this deal was announced. This is how, because it was announced at the same time that they announced the 15 million mark for Game Pass. Mm-hmm. He says this is how you go from 15 to 30 without even thinking about it. This and the EA Play deal are how you do that.
But
Stadia literally admitted that like all this that's going on is the reason that they completely just dropped out. Like they don't care about stuff anymore because they just can't compete.
I mean, that's indicative of Google in general, but yeah, they were one of the ones that were pursuing. We know at this point it was Microsoft, EA, and Stadia, Google that were pursuing it. Amazon was at one point, but nobody else had the capital to pony up $7.5 billion. And the whole thing of, well, you still want to put your games on other platforms. No, if you were going to do that, if you were going to let them go to other platforms, why not just sign a super long-term deal for like the next decade to bring all games to Game Pass on Bethesda and let them release everywhere else? That makes no sense.
I do wonder if Microsoft is still going to consider Steam as part of the deal, like doing it for Game Pass and doing, of course, Windows 10 and stuff like that.
These games will release on Steam. The Steam community is too big, especially for Bethesda Game Studios titles. It's too big, and we've seen when Microsoft puts games on Steam, they're instantly at the top of the charts and they stay there. Got a second life.
Look at Forza Horizon 4. It was
Forza Horizon 4 got like 3 million players off Steam alone in a week.
I wonder if they're going to day and date it, or is it like going to be off? Like it'll be Windows 10 or for Game Pass, and then maybe 4 or 5 months later it'll hit Steam.
I think so. Smaller titles. I think like if you want to play a theoretical Dishonored 3 or Prey, you will probably have to play those. Maybe even not Deathloop. Deathloop will be on Steam. If you want to play games like that or The Evil Within, I could see you having to do it through the Windows Store initially. Mm-hmm. But I think like Starfield, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, there's no way that the main Bethesda team and ZeniMax Online does not put their stuff on Steam day and date. There's just no way.
I think this is going to really help Microsoft in the long run.
Get rid of the Bethesda launcher. Get rid of it.
I didn't know they still had that.
I thought they took it down already.
I'm pretty sure it's still alive and kicking.
Well, I just quickly, I think Nintendo and Sony is going to be fine without having Bethesda. I think the focus on Microsoft is going to be bigger because right now I know a lot of people have doubts with their first-party games, and them with ZeniMax is going to really big them up with some great first-party games and stuff. So I think it's a really good thing. I think Sony and Nintendo are good with what they got, and whatever exclusives they do with other companies, it's going to be just good for them.
For me, this finally puts I think Microsoft squarely in that first party conversation. You already had good studios. You acquired Mojang, you had Ninja Theory, Turn 10, Playground, etc. You had studios that knew what they were doing. You formed a whole team to work on Gears, a whole team to work on Halo. You now have the best Western RPG developers this side of CD Projekt Red, and most of the big first-person shooter franchises, frankly, at this point, like legacy ones that we talk about.
You have everything except for Call of Duty and Destiny, basically, at this point.
Call of Duty, and I mean, you have a Game Pass deal for Destiny. right? You have
Yeah.
a really close relationship with Bungie. So
And EA, like with the EA deal too, you
Yeah,
have Battlefield, you have, you know what I mean? So,
Titanfall.
yeah.
I mean,
Titanfall.
The question for me now becomes not to cut you off, Ed. The question for me now becomes: do you have the quantity? Can you deliver the quality?
For real, that is the best question.
Go ahead.
I think it's. I wonder if it's their engine that they're using. I wonder if they're gonna get a new engine to use something.
Well,
To my knowledge, they have been. Starfield took so long to make because they are rebuilding the creation engine entirely.
Yeah. Which
And in this
is
roundtable, go ahead.
I was just commenting, which is needed. That's all.
I was going to say, Phil really focused on this during the presentation, saying that they want to take ID's engine, they want to take ID Tech, and they want to apply that to not just Bethesda titles, but across the entire Xbox library now.
So I wonder, what about Unreal 5? Like, will the coalition be using Unreal 5 for Gears and stuff like that?
Yeah, for me, it's undoubtedly the games that are in development using Unreal Engine. So Hellblade 2, In Exile's steampunk RPG, and Gears 6. We have no idea what engine Avowed is using.
With Obsidian, okay.
Yeah, we have no idea what they're using.
Yeah, because it's gonna be Bethesda's engine, Slipstream, which is Halo, Unreal, and what's Forza Motorsport? I don't know if they got their own.
It's a custom engine.
It's a custom racing engine, yeah.
Yeah, that's part of what's taking Forza so long is they're building they hadn't built a new engine for that since like the 360 to my knowledge.
What engine do you think they're using for Fable then? Not to like side tangent this conversation, but
honestly, I could see them using a modified version of the Forza engine.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be really interesting, but the more likely answer is probably, and we just don't know about it, is that they're using Unreal.
And Rare is using.
I think Sea of Thieves uses Unreal Engine.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so. Don't quote me on that, but I think they do. And it's like Unreal is, especially what they're doing with Unreal 5. Like it's incredible. Unless you have the tech capacity to build yourself just this incredible engine, like we think Slipspace is going to be great, but we haven't really seen Slipspace in action too much yet. ID Tech is proven. Look at how gorgeous and nearly flawless Doom Eternal runs.
I think looking at Sony with their deal with Unreal, I think we'll try to get a better understanding, because I know Epic said it's going to be a rollout for everybody. Or
that rollout is supposed to be happening, if it hasn't already, should be happening in the coming months. I believe developers have had Unreal 5 tools since.
Yeah, I think Ninja Theory has had it.
They are. Ninja Theory is confirmed. Hellblade 2 will be one of the first major AAA games to use it.
And whatever In Exile is working on, they're working on Unreal 5 too, right?
There's steampunk game that's still a little ways off. They're working on that. It's fascinating to me.
Is it an announcement thing before? I wonder if it's an announcement thing before they say who can have it, like, or this company has it, because it's only just Hellblade for right now, like you guys said.
Hellblade is the most prominent one that's announced it, and that's because they were already developing an Unreal 4. So they're being this. You can import all your progress from Unreal Engine
to Unreal 5.
Okay. Yeah. I think we're going to see a few more events like that. Not like this, not necessarily like developer roundtables, although I would love to see one with the heads of Ninja Theory and Mojang, Turn 10, Playground, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'd like to hear from those teams as well. I think this is really good. Not to do every year, but I think this is great to familiarize people with, especially a brand like Xbox that has acquired so much in like 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. This is really good for the public.
To get to know the developers.
It was a good refresher for me, even. Like, I don't know a whole lot about ZeniMax Online. I didn't know about Roadhouse or Alpha Dog, which they didn't talk about their projects, just that they're not ready to show those yet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
that's the thing, is there's a lot.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say that's the thing. There's kind of been talking about, I think coming from Microsoft themselves, that there's still a lot of things that are in progress that are being worked on that they haven't even talked about or mentioned yet. So like that's all that stuff, like just all that together is what's really, really interesting.
And I mean, Phil and Pete both said this during the roundtable that there are things that the overall Bethesda companies are working on that they aren't ready to show yet and that are not known to the public, and that's good. That's how it should be. We don't need to know about every single thing. Like I'm taking a broad assumption that Arcane Austin is working on something. I'm going on hearsay for ZeniMax's studio that they're starting up in San Diego. It's going to be working on a new IP, which we've heard won't even be a live service.
Well, definitely E3 is important to them, and I think probably like a fall reveal around, I would say mid-October would be a good thing for them.
They will probably go back to doing the EXO events this fall. They had started spinning those back up again in recent years. EXO 19 is when we got Everwild, Grounded, and Tell Me Why announced, right?
Yeah.
You probably want to do one. They had been planning one last year, I believe. Why wouldn't you do one around your console coming out?
I think in the Game Awards would probably be a big one for them.
I mean, they usually do a reveal there. E3 definitely, though, like they said, summer is coming. That's when you'll see from Xbox and from Bethesda. Just imagine, because they've had to plan separate shows. They legally could not do anything until Monday of this past week. Imagine taking the Bethesda show and having it go first, and as it's ending, your one more thing is showing the Starfield demo. But it's Todd Howard and Phil Spencer doing it together, and then they segue straight into the Xbox show.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it would be like the last thing in the Bethesda, but be the opener for the Xbox at the same time.
I mean, how else do you carry and convey that energy over?
Did you think a 2-hour show kind of?
It's probably going to be huge, right? Because the Xbox show is usually about an hour and a half anyway, right?
Yeah, I expect about 2.5. Bethesda usually keeps theirs around an hour or so, and I think they'll be able to trim out some stuff. Like if they really are going to do a co-show, they're not going to be able to show Deathloop will be out. They won't be able to show Ghostwire most likely. They'll save that for the Sony presentation.
And plus, this is a digital event, so that's why I feel like 2 hours they'll have, because everything is already set and edited. 2 hours might be the time, because they'll probably do 6 or 7 o'clock, going to 9.
The big question for me is, what do you do leading up to that? Like, we have a tech presentation coming up at the end of the month, presumably to announce xCloud to iOS, that the browser solution is ready to go into at least open beta. It's already being tested internally. I imagine you'll probably get a partner showcase in late April, early May, like you did last year, except it's actually going to have to be good this time.
Yeah.
And show gameplay. But I imagine you do that, show some of your indies, give us a date for Psychonauts, date for Flight Sim, things like that are going to carry us through the summer. That way E3 is just bam, it's all your big guns. It's mostly stuff that is exclusive to you, or they can come out and say that magical phrase like they did last year. Every single game you see here is day one on Game Pass.
I would say probably April, because they still got the Resident Evil demo happening, so they'll probably announce all of that, like a small inside Xbox, and then be like, definitely tune in until June for E3 for more info for future games and stuff.
It's interesting. There's a lot on the table. But this is a no-brainer acquisition. You just look at all the trending topics this week around the announcement and the confirmation of it, the roundtable, and then all the games that came to Game Pass. I mean, I'm probably doing nothing but streaming Bethesda games for the next 2 months now.
I think I'm happy that this is happening. Get a lot more people to play their games. Definitely help Game Pass grow more. And this is what
that's
Microsoft
the ultimate goal. Is you want to grow that with the IPs and with the talent. I mean, you got Todd Howard and Shinji Mikami working for you now. Like, that's insane. Phil finally got his Japanese studio. You're the best name in RPGs and shooters.
Yeah.
Well, and as a company, obviously you want to make money, but as a developer, they want people to play their games, so I just started downloading the first Dishonored since it's available, because that's a game I've always wanted to play, but I just never wanted to buy it because I saved my money for things that I either needed or wanted or whatever, but now I can actually play it. And I played part of 2, but I liked what I played, but like now I can actually play some of that stuff, and I don't, there's not a wall that's, keeping me from trying that stuff and putting money into that franchise later down the line.
And that's something that they discussed as well, was that they, like other teams, like I think Ninja Theory specifically has talked about this, them and Obsidian, games like Grounded and Bleeding Edge probably couldn't have come out without being a part of
Game Pass.
Mm-hmm. They would have not necessarily flopped, but they wouldn't have had a big enough audience to justify the investment. But now they go to Phil or Matt with an idea. They go to the first party studio heads and they say, "Hey, we'd kind of like to do this with a small team." And they're like, "Sure, go for it. We have Game Pass. You can just put it on there. Like, it's an experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we want you to do things you're passionate about, not things we're forcing you to do."
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's how new
that on at the roundtable on Thursday. They echoed that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, that's how new ideas get built. I mean, most new ideas don't come from big AAA games; they come from small indie games. So, like, you use those to kind of get ideas that you can hopefully use for the next game. Like,
I mean,
like say, oh, go ahead.
No. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going to say, like, for example, you have Hellblade, which is made by like 20, 25 people. Hellblade 2 has a team at least like triple the size of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, like, I was just going to point to, like, no, I just completely...
I'm sorry.
Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of those ideas ended up being, used in Spider-Man, and we see that a lot where where we see these games that they build and they're kind of a different, they're like a smaller project, but then they end up helping, come up with new tech for their next bigger games. So
right.
Like, yeah, it's just smart. It's just smart on their part to let them really go wild with trying to reinvent themselves, because that's how you get, new tech in your games and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's a no-brainer move. I mean, just to wrap up, like, my thoughts at least, like, Bethesda, we found out, was looking for a buyer as far back as 2018. We don't know what time in 2018, but I would imagine it was when Fallout 76 was imminent. I kind of got the sense a little bit from Todd's tone and how Pete's kind of addressed it in the past that maybe it was not a Bethesda decision to release that game in its state, that it was an order from on high, from ZeniMax. Yeah, I kind of get that impression, but I'm not sure. I don't want to go assuming things. I don't want to put words in people's mouths. But it seems like they're all genuinely happy about this, about the next step, about getting to be a part of this, and I mean, like Todd said, this gives them the creative freedom to do kind of whatever they want to. Bethesda itself has four branches. One of them is a dedicated VR studio here in Dallas. Like, they're probably not doing much VR anymore. One is a support studio down in Austin that's doing, 76 updates. They've basically taken ownership of it, from my understanding. You got Montreal, and we talk about all these different teams. Like, they have 2,300 new developers working for them now. That's an astronomical. That almost doubled the workforce size of Xbox's first-party studios overnight. That's crazy. This is an insane amount of talent, and it's kind of a no-brainer. Like, they needed to do something drastic here. And while I don't like seeing legacy franchises, things that are so important to the history of gaming, Elder Scrolls kind of helped popularize Western RPGs on console with Morrowind and Oblivion. And of course, Skyrim is one of the best-selling games of all time. Like, you've got Doom, Wolfenstein, Quake. Like, those are tied to one platform now going forward. But at the same time, I think it also gives those teams freedom to put those games on the back burner. Not necessarily like Elder Scrolls, but like Doom and Wolfenstein can kind of go on the back burner, and we can explore different things. We can explore Indiana Jones. I'm personally excited to see whatever it does that's not Doom.
Yeah.
I want to see id make a new franchise, like, not even necessarily like, it doesn't have to be a first person shooter. Like, I want to see these teams do something different, like Machine Games. We don't know how much of Indiana Jones is going to be a shooter. Like, we speculated about this. All of us have at one point or another. Like, could that be Microsoft's Uncharted, so to speak? I'd love to see, like, Doom kind of create a third person action game that is in the same emotional depth and gameplay style as something like The Last of Us or God of War. Like, you have so many opportunities here. Arcane is one of the most insanely talented studios that just gets ignored over and over again. I want to see what these devs can do with the backing of a multi-trillion-dollar corporation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like I've joked about, Indiana Jones has Nazis in it too, so
we got it. We got to keep the themes going. Family, love, and killing Nazis.
Yeah.
Yep.
The one thing I'll add to this as a PlayStation guy is that because I've had a lot of people reach out to me that I don't know. I thought for a while back, I was more of a PC gamer than a PlayStation gamer. And then I got in the boss rush, and I'm on the Crossroads show, so I'm back to being a PlayStation gamer for part time at least. And a lot of my friends that knew that I was affiliated with PlayStation stuff, they're asking me my thoughts and how I feel about this. And I told them, I was like, in all honesty, I think if you're asking me, is Sony in trouble? I don't think so. Is Nintendo in trouble? I don't think so. No. The only thing I'll say to that is, if anything, this is going to help all the companies refocus on where they need to be at as far as talent and gaming and things that they may acquire in the future as well.
Competition breeds excellence.
Exactly. We're going to see, and because of this, we're going to see more studios, because there's going to be studios and developers that pop up that was like, you know what, we don't want to be in Microsoft's back pocket, and they're going to pop up. They're going to do their own things. They're going to create excellent video games and stuff, and it's going to be available to play, across all the platforms and things like that. Yep. I don't think this is a nail in the coffin for anybody that's not a PC gamer or an Xbox gamer. I don't think this is.
You look at PlayStation sales right now, right? Like, it's the fastest selling next gen console. They took that away from the Switch, right? And that's with supply constraints. So anybody who says this is going to kill PlayStation is not paying attention.
They're not.
It's blind fanboyism is what it is.
Yeah,
and it's like, we look at it now. One of the arguments I see a lot on the other side is, well, Microsoft didn't build their studios. It's like, I'm sorry, teams get acquired all the time. A lot of, even some of Nintendo's teams, those started out as second party. What was the one they just got? The Luigi's Mansion developer.
Level 5.
Level 5.
Level 5. No.
Next level.
Blue Moon. Is that
next
what
level?
It's next level.
Next level.
Next level.
Come on, Nintendo guys, y'all are fumbling on this one.
They've been a second party studio for years, and they just got acquired. That's not as flashy as we went out and we paid $2 billion for Mojang. Or we paid, all this money to get Obsidian and Ninja Theory under our banner, but it's still the same thing. Naughty Dog was not built from the ground up.
I was going to say, Sony bought Naughty Dog.
Insomniac. You guys people don't want to talk about that because that was so long ago. That was in the 90s. They're like, whoa, it was a different time. This is a different time too. Microsoft has always done second party deals. You look at Remedy, Lionhead, and those have led to long partnerships. In Lionhead's case, butchering and rebuilding them. But what? I just don't understand that particular argument of they're just doing this to buy up studios and IP. It's a monopoly. A monopoly would be them buying 2K or buying EA and consolidating it.
Or buying Sony.
Right. Yeah.
Sony.
It's honestly a throwback to the console war stuff, and it's there has been a console war. There has been a console war since it definitely wasn't a console war the last gen. It wasn't. Yeah. It's like stop thinking about that, because in all seriousness, this is what stifles creativity in gaming and stuff like that. So you guys need to think about the bigger picture overall here. Do you like playing video games? Then this is a good jumping off point to get more games into our hands. Yeah, if you're pissed off that these games are coming to this system, buy that damn system or get a PC. Or
it has never been easier to play these games. That's what I try to tell people. You look at this and I see everybody go it's not going to be profitable if you're going to just pay $15 for a month and pay $1 and play these games. What they don't understand is it's not every time you sign up. It's just that first time that you get it for $1.
Yeah,
And I've seen people point out, they're like, unless you want to keep making throwaway profiles, not be able to keep your gamer score and your saves and everything else, like, this is how they get you into it. They said, but you, for $15 a month, you can play on a tablet. You're going to be able to play on your smart TV within the next year or so. Like, there has never been an easier way to play these exclusives. It is still being there. It's just not on your Sony branded or your Nintendo branded device.
And I think, like I said, those companies are going to be fine because those companies produce their own good quality of first party titles.
Yeah.
And
like the PlayStation Plus collection is, I mean, I know it's not a Game Pass substitute, but if you're going to argue that, like, they have something that's similar.
Baked into PS Plus. You're not paying extra.
Yeah, and you see, and you know what?
Give it time anyways with that.
Since we're mentioning the PlayStation Plus collection, have you noticed Sony restructured how PlayStation Plus is done? Now you're actually getting games on day one, coming directly to PlayStation Plus now. Like that wasn't a thing.
No, it's something like they're doing subtle things they can without having to implement a whole new program or having to raise their costs. Yeah. But that can compete with Game Pass, because let's be honest, like, PlayStation Plus was giving away good games, but they weren't competing with it. With the PS Plus collection and giving away, having deals with, for Bug Snacks, for the PS5 versions of Control and Maneater, putting their own game in Destruction All Stars on there, like, those are good moves. The Final Fantasy VII Remake is on there now. Like,
Control is a great example, right? Because I noticed Control's on Game Pass. Control was also just recently given away under the Humble Choice. Control is also doing
PlayStation Plus last month.
Yeah, but it's on PlayStation Plus last month, but it's the complete edition.
Yeah,
it's not what everybody else has.
Well, so and that one's a little bit of bullshit, because they want to charge you for the complete edition, and that's the only way you can get that next gen upgrade. Is if you do that. Even if you already bought the game, you can't get that upgrade without buying the complete edition.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, like, it had just been on sale, so Sony actually had to issue tons of refunds to people who had just bought it on sale, like, the week before.
Yeah, because it was like $20.
That happened. Yeah, that happened with that Maneater game too. But but it's funny because, like, as soon as I found out that Control the complete edition was coming out on PlayStation, I immediately uninstalled my Game Pass version of Control.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, it's going to be all about where can you get that best experience, right? Yeah. And they're trying to drive it. Like, let's be honest, out of Microsoft, because Nintendo's doing their own thing, right? Like, and it's amazing for them. They're the market leader right now. Sony and Microsoft are very clearly trying to compete with one another. Sony has the far superior first-party lineup in terms of quality and proven experience. Microsoft is trying desperately to get back in that conversation because they haven't been a factor in a generation.
Yeah.
I love Sunset Overdrive. I love Quantum Break. I love Ori. Those are some of my favorite games of the generation. They're God of War, The Last of Us, and Horizon. They are not. And, like,
truth.
We forget that, like, what Sony just did is it's unprecedented. The amount and consistency of the quality. Game of the Year contenders almost every single year. That doesn't happen for first-party studios.
We just mentioned on last week's Crossroads show that The Last of Us is nominated for 13 different BAFTA awards, and that's along with 9 other PlayStation exclusive games that have, like, copious amounts of BAFTA
Ghost
award
of
nominations.
Tsushima is up for almost as many.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's not counting exclusive partnerships that they've had for Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Final Fantasy VII Remake, yeah, exactly.
There's so many of these, and this whole move is, I think, less about we want to acquire these IPs forever, and more that we want this talent creating new and exciting IP for us. I think they're really starting to understand the Sony approach. I don't know if anybody's ever heard Herman Hulst talk about this, but he said, when they went to go make Horizon Zero Dawn, they had to, like, basically beg Sony to let them develop it because they were known for doing first-person shooters.
Yeah,
they were doing.
I remember hearing something about that. And
he said, we really had to convince them that we could do this, and he says they finally signed off, like, really trepidatiously, and then once they saw it in action, they're like, okay, we're really glad we let you do this. I get the impression you're getting the same thing with some of Obsidian's teams, with Ninja Theory's teams, and we're going to start seeing that with Bethesda now, right?
Look at the guys making the guys that were making the Forza games now possibly making a game that's nothing like what they're used to.
It's not even possible. Like they
Yeah.
made an entire second studio at Playground to specifically make RPGs, and like they had to sell that too. Like they had to sell Microsoft on, hey, we can do this. They hired a ton of the ex Lionhead devs, to give them a place.
Yeah. Well. Oh man, Bethesda.
Sorry, I'm putting the soapbox away.
And we'll talk more
about
this on
Josh, this was Josh. No. This was great because like I said, I missed the entire presentation that day because of work. And
LeRon secretly taking notes for Crossroads.
LeRon's secretly trying to find my calendar right now for Crossroads. No, just like I love Xbox. Bethesda is, outside of Bungie, is my all-time favorite studio. Like this is. And we all have those third-party studios that we associate with, or franchises we associate with specific platforms. For me, I associate Final Fantasy as a Sony franchise, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. And for so long, like when I was growing up, like when Final Fantasy 13 came to 360, it was shocking. And when that and 11 came over, like oh my god, like I had only grown up in an era where they were on PlayStation. I was not alive when they were on Super Nintendo. And NES. But the same way, though, I've always grown up playing Bethesda on Xbox. Like, they always ran better. They were always optimized. I've been there since Morrowind. I've been there since I was in the 5th grade. I've been on Bethesda with Xbox.
Wow.
This was just kind of like,
you are
feels
a
natural.
child.
Well,
I'm a child? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Well, and Josh, like what you were talking about earlier, too, like if you guys do end up watching the video, of Bethesda with Microsoft, like they've literally been like practically working together since the beginning, like all the way up until now. So like the fact that but we didn't know that. We didn't know how in depth their communication with each other was. Had we known that, this acquisition would have been far less shocking. We would have just been like, duh.
We knew to an extent. We knew to an extent. I think back to the Project Scorpio video, the reveal of that. And Todd is the first creator you see that's not a Microsoft dev talking about. He's, I think, maybe the only third-party developer talking in it. Talking about how it's going to help them, realize that, what their ambition was for Fallout 4 originally. And they actually talk about hardware in this, where Phil says, whenever we make a new Xbox, he goes, I find myself putting it into a secure case, a secure padded case, and flying across the country and showing it just to Todd and getting his opinion, getting the thumbs up or thumbs down. He says, if we get thumbs down, he goes, we're going back to the lab and fixing it. He says, he's been one of our closest partners on technology forever. He goes, but likewise, Todd was saying how when things go wrong, and he used 76 as an example, he goes, when 76 launched and was so broken, he goes, I was on the phone with Phil constantly, like, I need your advice. How do we fix this? How do we go forward? And I think that's when those talks started.
That, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that because I love the transparency there, and I feel like developers and publishers should take a clue from that right there. If anything, gamers love transparency.
This is the best recruitment video I've ever seen for a studio.
Yes. Yes.
By far.
Yes. Yeah. We love transparency. We love seeing behind the scenes stuff like this, and we love knowing that the developers are actually taking us, the gamers, seriously. I love it.
Yeah.
And I think that really is because, what Phil Spencer, he's been through a lot of that, and he understands both sides, the business side and the developer side as well. And I think that's, that's kind of why I've always, really thought that Phil Spencer has been doing a good job, is because he understands more than just being a business person.
Yeah.
He gets a lot more than just that. So
I've always had respect for Phil Spencer. When I found out that he was making the move to become like the Xbox the chief executive or whatever his position is, I was like, you know what, this is probably one of the best things to happen for Microsoft's console brand right there.
Yeah. It's like Biden coming in after another
geez.
certain president. Like, I mean, well, but honestly, I mean, like Phil Spencer had to like do a lot of crap to get to where they are right now, and
I mean,
it wasn't a great place to be in.
I mean, turning a company like that takes years, and I mean, we're finally seeing that ship turn. So let's get to our final topic here, unless anybody has anything else they want to say about the Bethesda stuff, because I'm sure all the shows are going to touch on it at some point this week. So
it's industry shaping.
It is.
And I was gonna just say really quick too, like, I don't know if any of you guys like want to come on AX. I'm gonna do it earlier, I think tomorrow, Ed, if we can, do it like around the time we do this show.
Okay.
But just tomorrow.
Okay.
If anyone else wants.
All right, so our last topic here is Nvidia is ending production of the Tegra X1 chip by the end of the year. And the reason why that's important is because that is the main component of the manufacturing of the Nintendo Switch. That chip is the altered version of that chip runs the Switch. And we talked a lot about the Switch Pro last week on a few shows, and this kind of points fingers that at least some new version of the Switch is coming, whether it's a Switch Pro or not. Some components have to change, and therefore the Switch is going to change internally. So, thoughts on this, real quick? Anybody? I mean, I know we talked
excited.
about Nintendo cannot delay updating their system anymore. They can't.
Expand, LeRon.
Basically, if Nintendo is ready for their system to be left behind in the dust, then let them rest on their laurels on this one. Now, I will say this because I've said it before on Crossroads and stuff like that. I even mentioned it this week on our Crossroads show that the AMD chips are starting to get what's called Fidelity FX Super Resolution, which basically is going to be AMD's version of DLSS, which is what Nvidia uses now to keep a competitive edge over the competition when it comes to graphics and graphical output. Basically, it's a nice way of using AI learning and super sampling to upscale everything to 4K or approximate 4K as closely as possible.
Checkerboard, almost, in a sense.
Yeah, almost, yeah.
This is a third-party move. Like we've said this before. This basically is the confirmation that a Switch Pro is happening, and that Switch Pro is going to be the only model going forward, which is fine. It's probably gonna be like that in the light. I don't know, but this feels like a no-brainer move to me.
For real, yeah.
You do this, then you can optimize games for it. But we've already talked, like, Nintendo's probably not going to make their first-party games have to run up. There'll be a couple, like a Xenoblade Chronicles situation with the new 3DS. You'll have something like that, but I don't think that's going to be super prevalent. Breath of the Wild 2 is not going to be locked into the Switch Pro.
Yeah.
No.
But if you have the Switch Pro, this game's going to run. It's like the new console argument right now. It's going to run the absolute best it possibly can. It may lag a little bit on your older consoles. This is a move to keep up with third-party support.
And Nintendo,
because that's exactly what Nintendo needs to be afraid of the fact that, hey, third parties may bow out at any time. Like, it's a very lucrative partnership that's going on right now between Nintendo and the third parties right now, but it was a landmine or a hellscape for them, up until recently.
The cloud streaming solution is just a Band-Aid.
And we know Nintendo likes to update their systems, definitely with their handhelds.
I mean, everybody does.
Every 2 or 3 years they'll do like a redesign or something. So seeing them doing this on Switch, like I said, probably with Unreal 5 when it comes to Switch, this is a smart move for Nintendo. And they've been talking about looking into graphics chips that's going to be more powerful. They have stated that. We just didn't know what they were looking at.
They just now started stating that. There's never been a focus on.
Well, to be fair, the Switch hasn't needed it. Clearly, I mean, it sold 72 million units. To me, I mean, have you tried to log on to the eShop lately and try to scroll down farther than 12 squares? It's
so bad.
They need to fix that.
I mean, Man, I don't even know what to say about this. I think the Switch needs an overhaul regardless. I love the Switch. I love what it can do. Mm-hmm. It's just the technology within is slowing the console down about what it could be potentially. And yeah, I know there's probably like out of the 72 million units that are out there, I'm sure about 85%, 90% of them don't care about any of this crap that we're talking about, right? Like graphical upgrades, 4K. They just want to sit and play Mario and Animal Crossing and eat chips and watch Netflix and, whatever.
I think Nintendo has, or like their R&D team probably has been, even with COVID, probably just designing, seeing what works and building stuff and see how things are fixed. So I'm excited to see this. I thought they would announce something like later on this year, and we may see something next year. I still feel that way. Like they just announced something. Oh, go ahead, Corey.
Oh, my thing is like if you want something like Metroid Prime 4, we've talked about this a lot, Ed, where like they're hiring a ton of first-person shooter devs where this might be less of a Metroid-y style game and more of along the lines of like a Halo type thing with
God, please,
with Metroid style puzzles in it, right? Like,
dear God,
like we've talked about that a lot. And if you want to get,
I don't know how I feel about that.
If you want to get something like Bayonetta 3 running at 60 frames a second consistently at a higher resolution, right? Like 60, like 1080, 60 or something. They've got to do something, right? Because Bayonetta 2, a Wii U game on Switch, runs at 720p 60.
And then
and that's what I was
in TV.
Say.
It doesn't look good. That's the problem.
It does not look good. It does not look good on my 38. It does not look good on my 3840 by 2160 television. It does not look good.
I mean, playing it on my Wii U, just seeing it. I'm talking about back in the day, not now. Just seeing it back in the day, it looked really good to me, impressive. Because I wasn't thinking about like 4K and stuff like that. It's just like, wow, this world looks beautiful, and the fighting was fun. I think I was into
my first experience with Bayonetta 2 was on 4K television, and you know what? I was like, man, like this doesn't look any better than the PS3 Bayonetta 1 I played.
I've been spoiled now by 4K 60 or 4K 120 on the Series X. I can't go back.
Yeah.
It's a big problem.
Yeah, I've been playing Destiny at 1440p or 4K 60 120. It's just and like going back to Switch, like I was running around in Breath of the Wild the other day and it sub 30. Like I love that game so much, but it would benefit from way better hardware in so many different areas.
And 60,
definitely 60,
or even just being like great. Being a lot, like even being at 30 without dipping would be fine.
Exactly. I was about to say, like gamers are very forgiving because if you can get 10K, I'm sorry, 10K, 1080 30. If you can get 1080 30, like most gamers will be satisfied.
And I think Breath of the Wild 2, like since it's being built up for Switch, I think they'll probably put more emphasis. I think when they get the new chip,
it'll be optimized better.
Yeah. I think with Nintendo getting this new chip, we'll see what they can do. Because I know a lot of you guys say that it's going to be really benefit third party, but I want to see what Nintendo does with it because they have.
Well, that's the thing.
Nintendo would be stupid not to. Go ahead, Jesse. Go ahead.
Nintendo, because I mean, Nintendo's games have been struggling lately. And so, like even their own first party are struggling from
some of Mario
the lack
3D
of
World,
power. So
some of Mario 3D World, especially when you get into these areas where there's a lot of things going on, is like it dips hard, right? Or if you get multiple characters on screen at once, like it's tough.
People are having to jailbreak their Switches just to unlock the limiter for frames.
Well, you know what I'd like to see with a Switch Pro? I'd like to be able to play third-party games like Control and Resident Evil 7 and things like that, and Hitman 3 natively on it, as opposed to having to stream them to it. I think streaming is a solution for those with a Switch Lite or with the current docked one. But with a Switch Pro, let me download that straight there, boost that internal memory. I think by now you've got to understand 32 gigs is a fucking joke.
Well,
it's a fucking joke.
I think it's because it was so much cartridge based that they probably didn't even think about it.
I get it, but within even a year of that, you saw such a huge shift to digital, especially for anything that wasn't first party, it basically went digital.
Yeah, and I think that's why they included
The
like
only
the
things
mini
that
SD
I buy
cards.
on the Switch that are physical are first party games now, and that's because my girlfriend and I share them.
Yeah.
Other
Well,
than that,
and
buying,
the assets. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Well, I was just gonna say, and also, I mean, you know, with upgrade and resolution and things like that these games are gonna do, we're gonna ultimately have bigger files as well. So
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like they're so they're gonna have to
only
make up.
run on cloud servers.
My dream would be
Yeah.
that they used a technology similar to smart delivery, but we all know how Nintendo and technology mix. You know,
Well,
my thing is I just want things to run more stable and you know
Yep.
cleaner. I want Mario Kart. If you're having a 4-player Mario Kart to run it at 60 on all 4 screens instead of 30, right? Like we were playing Mario Kart the other day with my nephews, and they like, I mean they don't care, like they're just having fun playing Mario Kart. But if you're playing Mario Kart at 60, like you'd notice that dip in 30, right? That it just it's a huge dip.
Yeah, and I think next year if they release it, I think it'd be a good rollout.
They've got to have
not so much for the games.
They've got to have. I think this is what they're waiting for reveals or re-reveals on certain games too for this thing, right? Like, I don't think they want a Hyrule Warriors or Smash Brothers 3DS situation again, right?
No.
I think we all saw from the Splatoon 3 trailer that there's clearly more powerful hardware coming.
Yeah.
Because there's no way in hell that game was running on a base Switch. There's no way.
It was very
Unless-
artistic.
unless it's
There's no,
running on-
the
unless it's
guys
running
at
on PC.
listen, the team at Nintendo are wizards, but there is no fucking. I think Breath of the Wild is one of the most beautiful games I've ever played. I think it's a marvel of design and ingenuity. But the fact that game looked as good as it did on the Wii U and the Switch, I'm sorry, you're not pulling that off with Splatoon.
Well, that's
Dude, it's very clearly on a 4K dock.
yeah, and that's why I say like building stuff up from the bottom.
That's
definitely for this.
and
It's
That's the other
4K,
thing,
it's
too.
docked, it's got a Pikachu plugged into the back.
That's
something I want to touch on though, like a question that I have. Like, what if the Switch Pro, like in like the Switch, the handheld part itself, has the better screen, bigger screen, you know, all the updated things, but what if they essentially the dock, like later down the line, you'd be able to just update your dock and be able to play your old Switch in it at the higher resolution, like play games at a higher resolution, but when you take it out handheld, you're just going to go back to the old Switch's power.
I think that's
Like,
I think that's what they're
kinda
going to
wish
do.
they would do that.
Well, I think the dock is going to have processing power in it at this point, right?
Yeah.
If the screen's going to be 720p, granted,
It has to.
OLED screen, whatever. But if you're going to have 4K, like you know, checkerboarded or native 4K, that dock's got to have some sort of processing power in it at this point.
Yeah.
Well, and because, you know, like with Nintendo, I mean, the main thing with them wanting to be more affordable, like that would essentially not leave everyone who's already bought a Switch out. If they want to, they could just update their dock for half the price of what it would cost for the full Pro. And then that way, you know, like not, you know, just completely alienate everyone.
Well, I'm gonna see you guys later. We'll probably discuss this on Power Block. You guys can find me on Twitter at the Retrocode, and I'll leave it at that. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.
Bye, Ed. Have fun at work.
All right.
Bye,
Ed.
Ed.
Have a good day. So yeah, that like I just think that you know, like whether they do that or not, I don't know, but I think that would just be a really pro-consumer move. Like if they did that, allowed, you know, and just didn't completely make people have to go out and spend another whole $400 or whatever it's going to cost.
Yeah, how much do we? How much?
Consumer move?
How much do we think this? How much do we
I
think this
know.
thing is going to cost? By the way,
I probably $350.
I'm going. Yeah, I'm going.
Yeah, I was
350.
thinking
It's not going to be much
$349.
over the regular. Because here's the well, in fact, I could even see it coming out at 300 and then just discounting what the current Switch with the dock is.
you could
Especially if,
drop
like-
the Switch Lite to like 175, the current Switch to like 250 or 200, and then this one at 300.
That's
So I would
was gonna
expect-
happen.
I expect Switch Lite to go to 150 docked Switch to go to 200, Switch Pro to be 300.
Mm-hmm.
To keep competitive. That allows them to be on par with the Series S.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking 169.99 for the Lite, 249.99 for the regular for the OG Switch, and then 300 for the new one.
See, I think they would drop the OG Switch just to phase them out quicker. To like
yeah,
200.
that too, because we already know they're not developing, they're not releasing, they don't make docks anymore for the original Switch.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way to get a dock is to buy an actual Switch.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's probably going to be a big component of it, and I think they're going to want to clear that, because the rumor we heard about the Switch Pro was that they are gearing up for a release in like mid to late September.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do that, the Switch Pro will definitely be supply constrained through the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
But you can clearance out the regular Switches, and you still have the Switch Lite to sell. That's my other question, though. Like, if they're done making the chip for the regular Switch, is there a different chip in the Switch Lite? I genuinely don't know.
Unless they pull all the, I mean, not that this is how manufacturing works, but like maybe they pull like when the Switch Pro comes out, they pull the normal Switch and use those chips for the Switch Lite, or maybe they just find an alternative solution.
Because I'm almost wondering, like, there's not a huge change in the handheld resolution for the proposed Switch Pro and the Switch Lite.
Yeah.
There's not a massive change in handheld. It's mainly the processing power of the dock, and there will be some internal changes. Probably get a higher frame rate, but I can't imagine that still can't work in an updated Switch Lite.
Yeah, maybe they'll just quietly replace those Switch Lite chips and not really tell anybody, right? I mean, that's something Digital Foundry would probably break down once this all happens, you know?
Right.
Because they kind of did that with the current model of the Switch, right? Like, they had some internal changes and made the battery power last longer, right? But they didn't really announce that. They just made the change quietly.
Yeah, it's weird. I went to Tom's Hardware just now to see a tech analysis, and all it says is Nvidia custom Tegra processor for the Switch Lite. They don't say which Tegra processor it is.
It's one. It's the one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's one, but it's weird.
Yeah. So, I will be getting one of these. That's probably going to eliminate the PlayStation 5 for me this year.
I'm not in a rush to get the Switch Pro.
Yeah, but you're not a Switch guy though. Like you know what I mean? Like,
hold on, I am a Switch guy.
No, I mean like me and Ed are the Switch guys, right? Like, we play most of our games on Switch. You play on PC and PlayStation, and like Monster Hunter showed up, so I'll plug it in.
The only way that I would rush to go get a Switch Pro is if it looks. I mean, I'll probably place an order no matter what. But the only way I think I would keep that order and not, like, sell it at retail to a friend who really wants it is if it comes out and Breath of the Wild 2 just looks awful on the base Switch, or if it's running bad. That's the only way I think, like, if that game miraculously makes it out this year, which it's not.
No,
but if it miraculously did,
that game's coming out next spring. They're gonna redo it's gonna be a bunch of HD ports this fall for Switch. I guarantee it.
I'm fine with that. I mean, like, that's the only time I will rush out to go get one is when Breath of the Wild is imminent.
That's the other problem too. If it's just going to be a bunch of Switch ports, it's not going to facilitate a rush for me to run and buy it.
Yeah, I think the first major game you're going to see for this that's going to take advantage of it is going to be
Breath of the Wild.
It's going to be a new Pokemon game next spring.
Oh, Pokemon. Okay, yeah.
I mean, you line the Switch Pro up this fall,
Breath of the Pikachu.
And then you have Pokemon Legends, you have Breath of the Wild 2, and you have Splatoon 3 next year, right? Plus probably Bayonetta 3 next year and Metroid Prime 4 down the line. Those are 5 games right there that I guarantee you will run better on this thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll definitely get it once Breath of the Wild 2 is out, because like, that's ultimately, to be honest, that's the main reason why I got a Switch in the first place, was for the first Breath of the Wild. So I'll get that. Yeah, I'll get that new one for the next one.
Speaking of, I wonder how much the Wii U version of Breath of the Wild 2 or Breath of the Wild is going on Amazon or on eBay right now.
$10.
Seriously? That sucks.
I'm guessing,
because I have it sealed.
Yeah, it's probably like 150 or something ridiculous. Because usually those games games like that will usually end up going up in price quite a bit.
Yeah.
for Nintendo.
Awesome. 1950. You can buy one right now.
Oh, nice.
That's open
Yeah.
now. $50 sealed.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Wasted my money.
That's cheaper. Yeah, that's cheaper than what it costs to buy it.
Yeah.
In the first place.
So yeah, that's our Switch Pro minute, 10 minutes, whatever. I don't know, man. I didn't play my Switch really a lot last year at all. I wasn't interested in Paper Mario or Animal Crossing or I mean, even Hyrule Warriors was like, okay, this is fine. Like, it's another Zelda story that I'll play through, but it's not Breath of the Wild, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But
Which
this year,
I've gone back within the last month and played some Breath of the Wild. Like, honestly, anymore, that's really the only game that brings me back or makes me want to go back to play it. Well, that, and I mean, a lot of times my kids it gets so much use from my kids. It's never in the dock.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's not getting use.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm glad they're using it. Just because like with Game Pass and all that stuff, it's just so hard for me to look to my Switch because I've just got too much in front of me right now.
I've played my Switch more this year with Mario 3D World than I did all of last year, which is insane.
Yeah, I do want to pick that up because it looks so fun.
It's the best Mario game. I don't care what anybody says. You can fight me.
Yeah.
You can check out our rankings episode of Pow Block on your podcast service of choice. Everybody's wrong. It's okay. All right. We do have one question, guys. It came from our Discord. You should join our Discord. It's a good time. A lot of people in there. A lot of fun people. Come have fun.
Yeah,
with us.
I need to start focusing on that again. Maybe get some questions from there for AX because I want to start doing questions on AX again.
Spetsnaz81 from Discord. It's quite a name. I hope I said it right. If not, well, you shouldn't have such a hard name to pronounce on Discord.
A Siege fan, I'm guessing. Rainbow Six Siege.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, that's one of the characters on Rainbow Six.
Well, then I stand corrected. Thank you, Jesse. Is RPG a genre anymore, or is it just a, quote, game mechanic? I mean, it's both. I mean, there's plenty of game. Like, you look at, I mean, we were just talking about Bethesda, but you look at all those Western RPGs. Those are RPGs. Fallout's an RPG. Elder Scrolls RPG.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, something like Horizon implements RPG mechanics, but at that point, it's just like that's just part of the game now, you know. Like that's just it's to make you feel more in control, to make you have
an RPG can be anything from Elder Scrolls or Fallout to Pillars of Eternity and Divinity, to an isometric to
Final Fantasy, Dragon Age.
There's side scroller RPGs. I mean, Project Octopath Traveler.
I look at
if anything, it's just gone from a main genre to a subgenre. If anything, I wouldn't say that it's a.
I don't think it's a subgenre. I think it's gone from a subgenre to a major genre.
Yeah. Sure.
Because you have all these branches coming out of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, even
when you're a major genre, if you're something else, you're borrowing those elements. Like Fallout's an RPG, but it's borrowing first-person shooter mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just like Cyberpunk feels more like an FPS than it does an RPG at times.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still an RPG at the same time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you even look at
Assassin's Creed started out as stealth, and look at that. That's arguably an action RPG now.
Yeah. I mean, you even look at something like Destiny, where like it's it's first-person shooter, but
it's definitely an MMO also. Well, it's an MMORPG. That's how Bungie themselves describe it as an RPG FPS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, RPGs are everywhere. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
And the vast majority of them are on Xbox Game Pass. Hashtag not an ad.
Hashtag Xbox, please sponsor this show.
Bill Spencer, please hire me.
Please. For free. I'll work for free. I'll work for food and housing.
I'll pay you.
Does anybody have anything else they want to talk about before we get out of here? I think we covered our bases here.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
No, I'm real curious to see how this deal shakes out, how it shakes up the industry.
I've already downloaded a ton of Bethesda games that
I have to.
never purchased and I've wanted to try, but I'm not gonna waste my money on something that I'm
looking right now. I have Doom 3, Fallout 76, Skyrim, Fallout New Vegas, and Morrowind all installed right now.
I can barely
tonight.
I can barely get to the games I have right now, but I did get Wolfenstein: The New Order.
I loved it. I love the new Wolfenstein games. Corey and I talked about this on our reactions. We have a shared love for Return to Castle Wolfenstein on the original Xbox. That is like my dream announcement, is that they'll come out at E3 and announce that it's coming to backwards compatibility. I still own the disc. I'm going to put it on my shelf back there because I love that game so much. This is in response to last generation, and even at the beginning of this one. We just see Sony making these megaton third-party deals. I mean, like, look at the long-running relationship they have with Square. They have Final Fantasy VII Remake. They have Final Fantasy XIV is console exclusive on there. Like, they flat out said, we're probably never bringing it to Xbox.
Final Fantasy 16 is at least a year one exclusive.
Final Fantasy 16, honestly, it may be a full-on exclusive. Project Athia, it's an arms race at this point, and you're seeing companies double down in areas they're known for. Microsoft has always been associated with first-person shooters, multiplayer games,
exactly,
and RPGs. They got away from that with the Xbox One. Go back to what you're good at. Double down on it. Then you let your other teams dabble in it. Like, they got Double Fine. Double Fine does platformers traditionally. Okay, they've got the demented mind of Tim Schafer. Okay, over there doing stuff. Like, let him do whatever he wants to. Grounded is a survival game. Like, these aren't things that Microsoft is good at, but they're going to let their teams do them. Like, they're developing an in-house horror game with Project Mara. Like, do those and you make deals for your other things. Like, I'm fine if you don't have a studio that's working on a third-person action game, because I'm going to go play all those in the Sony franchises I can't live without. I'm going to go play those. I'm going to go there for my third-person story-driven games and my platformers, but I'm going to get those. People keep saying, like, oh, we need these single-player story experiences. They're coming. They're just going to be like 80 hours long. They're going to be RPGs. They're going to be FPSs. Like, Doom tells a great story. Wolfenstein tells great stories. Those are shooters. You can have those. If Halo gets back to what it was, it will be. Gears 4 and 5 forms a great duo along with Hivebusters. Like, you don't have to be, we're so fixed in the mindset of it has to be a Naughty Dog style game in order for us to say it's story-driven single player. No, single player story-driven means so much more than that. It's such a broader term. It's just, we focus on what's most critically acclaimed at the time, right? And when we think Western RPG, all anybody really thought about for the last several years was a ton of mistakes, a ton of canceled games, and the genius of The Witcher 3.
Yep.
So you're bringing that around full circle with a team that knows and understands this, and the possibilities are limitless. Just don't be afraid to delay things, polish your shit, and learn how to market a video game that's not Halo. I beg you, please. I beg you. I can't handle another Sunset Over Quantum Break.
So going back to the Bethesda stuff real quick, you think they're gonna have Pete Hines start helping with marketing the other stuff for Xbox instead of Bethesda?
I will almost guarantee you that Pete Hines is going to be going.
He is the best. I feel like he's the best marketer in the business right now. Like, and that's somebody who doesn't really even care about Bethesda stuff. But every time he talks about something or shows something off or comes out on stage at E3, like, he is the best at what he does. I feel like, and like, I feel like he's the hidden gem that out of all of this that Microsoft has gotten. Like, no offense to Aaron Greenberg or like Sarah Bond or anything, but like, he is like the guy.
Sarah's quietly become their secret weapon, I think, too.
Yeah, I mean, she does a great job with like partnership stuff, but I'm saying, like,
well, then that's what she's head of, is that and Game Pass, and like, oh my god, like, that's a resounding success on your resume. I said this on Twitter though. I think not enough attention was being given to how Pete Hines hosting that roundtable. Like, they let him host it. Phil did not host it. Greenberg did not host it. It was Pete who was hosting it, and it didn't at any point feel like an infomercial. Yeah. Anytime that I hear Aaron talk, it's building hype that doesn't get delivered on. It's an infomercial, etc. Like, Microsoft has this problem with their industry presentations where it feels like we're just trying to sell you shit. Like, look at how Sony has approached their press conferences. Like, hey, we're trying to be your buddy. We're trying to be your friend. Like, look at what we're bringing to you. Microsoft, it's just like, look at what you're going to fucking pay me for with a gun to your
See, every time, like, Inside Xbox comes out, I feel like it's such a great idea. It's a great idea, right? But it's so overproduced. It's so over, like, it feels super scripted. Like, if you would just get some, like, this Bethesda thing felt really, it was the first time I watched one of these and was like, man, this is super real and super, like,
I noted that.
Genuine.
I said, it felt like Pete wasn't reading off a teleprompter. You could tell Phil wasn't.
Yeah.
And it's like, it felt like it was natural and organic. It felt like old friends sitting around talking. And I think that's so important to touch on. And it's like, I was like, I would love to see one of these with the other Xbox first party studios now, like get studio updates, maybe you put that as part of like 10-15 minutes of your E3 presentation, like, hey, here's what we're working on. We're going to go in depth on a project from each of these studios today. But we want to give you a glimpse at the people who are making the things that you enjoy, because without those people, you're not doing this. Bethesda is a place that, like, they kept noting everybody who was there, who was running a studio or who was a creator, has been there 5, 10, 15, 20 years even. Now, Ashley Chang, who actually runs the studio at Bethesda, like, Todd's its producer, he's the studio head, has been there since, like, Elder Scrolls Arena in 96. They were shipping games on fucking floppy disks. Like, they show that in the little retrospective at the beginning, and it's like, this is so cool. Like, it's a place that clearly you want to stay at. And it's like, I think Phil is the only person who's been at Microsoft in like the last 15, 20 years who understands you don't touch that culture. Don't change it. If it's a toxic place, you change it. And like Corey and I talked about this a little bit on Thursday night, that's why I don't think they're going to acquire Techland. There's so many problems over there. Like, sure, they're a studio near bankruptcy, and I mean, they could pull a fast one on us, but the culture there is so toxic. That's the antithesis of what Phil is clearly trying to build. And Matt Booty deserves a lot of credit, too, I think, for what they've done the last 3 or 4 years. Like, this is what Phil wanted to do. He resigned that we're going to lose this entire generation. We're going to lose the Xbox One gen. We're bowing out in 2016. We're not even going to try. We're going to focus on the future. And because of that, they may not be at the top or at the front in hardware sales. They don't care. They've got 18 million people paying them every month for a game subscription service. $2.5 billion for an entire calendar year estimated without any more subs will pay for your entire first-party output for the next 3 or 4 years easily with salary. That is a success story in and of itself. Not that Microsoft needs the money, but they're not burning cash now. You don't make money off the hardware. You make money off the software and off the services.
And like with people having phones and everything, like, I mean, we already touched on this. I don't want to keep talking in circles, but like, you don't even have to sell hardware to sell your games now. Like, you know what I mean? It's so easy. I mean, look at LeRon.
LeRon with Samsung.
LeRon's playing on PC, right? Like, I have an Xbox Series S in my office to stream from, and I have the Series X on my TV, right? Jesse, you have a Series X. Josh, you have what? You have both, right? Josh, like,
we have the X and the S. I plan on checking out xCloud and playing. Honestly, I want to play on my tablet. There's times my eyes hurt real easily. I don't want to stare at my monitor. I want to be able to look at that 10-inch screen and be like, you know what? I'm going to hang out. I'm going to play some Monster Train, or I want to do a run through Katana Zero or something. Like, I want to do a couple dailies in Destiny. I'm going to play it on that little screen.
I'm going to play on my phone at some point when this browser solution pops up, right? Like, that's a big deal.
Right.
And I think there's still a lot to come yet that we're going to see from that service alone. Like, like, one of the things that I noticed, like, that's the difference between playing a game that's natively created for the Switch versus playing a game on xCloud is the vision, or what's the where you can change the site of view or whatever it's called. Like, you can make it so it like kind of zooms in more, and so you're seeing closer from a smaller screen. Like, once they can do more of that kind of stuff too, I think that will help out, because sometimes some games, like when you're playing on xCloud, because it is such a small screen and the camera is pulled back, to what it would be on a regular like TV screen, it can be harder to see what you're doing. But I think if they can, the field of view, that's what I'm thinking. Like if they can have a slider for that field of view for xCloud games, I think that would help out too significantly. And I think some games might already have that, but I don't know because I haven't used it honestly in a little while now. So, but
yeah,
I think that's the thing is it's still in such a early infancy stage of its existence that like once it becomes a much wider accepted thing, I think it's going to be completely different even than what it is right now.
The one and only thing I would caution Microsoft on, not Phil, come on, I know that you and Pete are sharing this around right now at the office, is do not buy anything else. Please, for the love of God, do not buy anything else.
He did mention that he still wants to figure out a first-party presence in Japan.
I get like that's a little bit different. Japan is a very tricky situation with how they regulate buying and selling companies over there. That was we thought that was going to be one of the big hiccups for Bethesda was because of Tango, and I guess I'm okay with that. Like I know Corey, you and I speculated really quickly on Mistwalker. It's just I think you can avoid the monopolization talk for now, but if you keep buying big companies, that is like something little, like people were like, oh, if it's like a Ninja Theory or a Compulsion, go for it. And it's because people write those companies off, right? Like if they were to do Bloober, I don't think anybody would even bat an eyelash. They'd be like, okay, whatever.
I mean, if it's someone like Sega, or if they're trying to go after someone like Square Enix or something,
okay, people are going to rightfully lose their shit at that point. Like I personally think the more likely thing is that they manage to do a whole bunch of third-party exclusive deals. Like I firmly believe they're trying to make a deal with Kojima for a Kojima game.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to make a deal with From Software, at least, like because we know they're doing the marketing for Elden Ring. Like what if you only have to get an exclusive out of that? Like what if your deal is we're going to bring the Dark Souls trilogy and Sekiro to Game Pass to celebrate and to build up to Elden Ring coming out. So you're playing all the From Software backlog that we can legally give you.
Or if they had like a timed exclusive on like enhancements for next gen for some certain games too.
Right. Like if you do things like that, like I don't think that that's a huge deal. Like I think that's the more likely avenue. Build on that relationship you're clearly developing with Square, that you're building with Sega, with the Yakuza series. You and I keep coming back to those two things. It's not on the level of the Sony partnership, but it's a hell of a lot better than it was. And I think eventually that has to result in some timed exclusives somewhere. I think a lot of Japanese companies or like Korean companies are really waiting to see how xCloud takes off over there.
Yeah.
They do so much on-the-go gaming. That's why the Switch is so fucking popular over there, right?
Yeah.
Like, is because, like, they don't have these massive 50-inch screen.
Their houses are smaller than my entire office in some points.
Right.
Because, like, it's just their country has just as many people as the United States, and is about a thousandth of the size. So
that's all I've got. I could sit here and talk about this literally for hours.
I know, and I know I could talk about all this all day, but we're gonna get out of here. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. If you're watching us live on Twitch, thank you for watching. Please follow us. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a nice review. We're also on Spotify, Google, whatever they're calling their podcast app now. I don't even know at this point. We're on most major podcast apps. If we're missing one, let me know so we can get it there. Josh, where can we find you?
As always, every single week, you can find me on Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. And you can find me on Twitter at Josh_Finn and on Twitch as at Josh_Finn. 2 N's, both places.
Jesse?
You can find me almost everywhere as Phantom NXS, and you can find me on Arsenal X.
LeRon?
All right. You can catch me on social media at Exodus803. Also, look me up on Twitch at Exodus803, where every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, me and a couple of my cohorts, we have the Crossroads PlayStation show. So check us out there.
I'm gonna pop up on that show this week, I think.
Oh yeah. Please. I was about to say please come, and then I was like, oh no, don't say that. Please make an appearance. And I'll be on Pow Block Monday night.
Oh boy.
With Ed and the crew. They've invited me over to play their quiz show. So I'll be there Monday night over at bossrushgameslive.com. That's what that is where they're hosting it at, right?
It's a trap.
Yeah.
I know it's a trap. I know.
I won the last time.
Yeah, I saw it, man. They did poor Celeste so wrong.
I know
that game.
I was promised a $10 eShop card.
Did you get it?
No, Ed.
Oh.
Anyways, you can find Ed at that retro code. You can find him on Nintendo Power Block. You can find me at I am CorinHD on Twitter, CorinHD on Instagram. You can find me doing other things here on Boss Rush Games. Please check out our website, our revamped website. We have a writing team now, guys, so there's some things going on there. I do have to adjust some things, but it's all a work in progress. So check it out. We've got some exciting stuff coming up for you. I've only got 2 more shows left, guys, until I'm taking a sweet vacation. So that's what they call that, right? Vacation.
So basically what you're saying is there will be no Boss Rush shows for you.
Yeah.
There'll be no Boss Rush shows going on during your hiatus.
Yeah. So I'll be working on some behind the scenes stuff, honestly, because that's what I'll be able to do. And
that's not true. We're gonna hold it down, and everyone's gonna and your fans and your audience are gonna miss you while you're gone.
I don't have any fans.
What are you talking about?
Standard casuals and not
standard definition. What are you talking about?
What'd you say, Josh?
I said I'm taking tower casuals and I'm not giving it back when you leave. So
yeah.
Look at me. I am the host now.
Squatters. Gosh. Anyways, thank you everybody
Get us out of here, Corey.
so much for watching, and until next week, we love you. Goodbye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.